Hello, and welcome to another Industry Celebrities podcast. I am Kimberly Scott, a former video girl and now podcast rookie. Industries are kind enough to be my guests and share their stories of how they manage in their own industry, or they talk about their passions. Whatever it is that they want to talk about, we discuss. And I ask them questions, they respond, and it's just fun. So if you're interested in sharing your story on Industry Celebrities, feel free to email me at Kimberly, Kimberly, at marketingdoer.com. And you can listen to other episodes by searching iTunes for you iPhone users by searching Kimberly D. Scott on iTunes, and Anchor for the Android users, or just go to YouTube and put in my name, Kimberly D. Scott, and you'll find more episodes. So now that that's out of the way, I wanted to introduce my guest, Miss Susan Hinkley.
Yes.
Hi, how are you
Hi.
doing? Thank you for being on today.
Of course, my pleasure.
Thank you. No, my pleasure, my honor.
Okay.
Oh. So I'm gonna get to some of the questions that we've been going back and forth on, and one of my starters is, what industry and how did you get started in this industry?
So I'm in the association management industry.
Oh.
So I got started actually when I was in college at the University of Texas in Austin. So
Hook 'em horns?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Had a part-time job and did some work for an association there. It's actually still in existence. It's called APRO. And
What did they do?
they are for rent-to-own organizations.
Got it. Okay.
So
Rent to own anything.
Yeah, rent to own anything, right? So learned a little bit about association management and decided, wow, this is something I really would like to do. Originally, I thought I might want to be in radio, so that's what I was studying to do. Yeah,
That's really
right?
cool and very different.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Took a turn there.
I did. I definitely did. But I love the different day aspect of association management and all the different things that you would do. And so I was hooked, right away. So
Then how'd you get to your current position?
So I got to HAA, actually answered an ad in the paper. I was ready to move out of Austin, loved it, but the opportunities there to grow really were not as great for me. So I started looking in big markets like Chicago and DC for association work.
Yeah, wow.
Found a position through the newspaper, actually. That was back when we did that sort of thing.
Nothing
in
online.
print. Yeah.
Before there was the internet.
Nothing, exactly, way back then. So answered the ad, came and spoke to, at the time it was Paul Heiberger was our association executive here at HAA. Got the job, and now 30 years later.
30 years?
Yes, 30 years. God.
What was your
incredible.
first position here then?
So first position was membership services, membership director, yeah.
And now you are the vice president.
So now I'm the vice president, general manager, right? And
so worked your way up.
Worked my way up, right? Working with Jeff Hall, who's our executive vice president for many, many, many years.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's great. It's a wonderful position, wonderful work. And I worked at other associations, but obviously this one to me is just the
your
best.
all-time favorite.
Yes.
I can see.
Yeah.
So we love the apartment industry business, and
Yes.
it's good to know. I always tell people there's an association for every industry, right?
There is an association for every
that.
industry,
You could
yes.
probably name how many. Could you tell us how many
Oh my goodness.
there are?
I honestly don't know. I'm sure that we could pull it up on the
Online.
internet. Yeah,
On the
online.
Google.
Yes, that's right. But there is an association for all associations, and I'm a member of that organization, and they have their own certification programs, and I have the certification through their program. So, doing association work, you appreciate what other associations do, and I always want to, get the experience potentially that our members would have, and earn the additional knowledge that I need to learn on how to do my job better to make their experience better. So yes, so
Working for us always.
yeah, well that's the idea, right? Without the members,
there would be no association.
That's right. There's no association. So you always have to remember that they are the reason we're here. So
Well, thank you. I appreciate you.
oh, well, thank you.
Okay, well, my next question, I was very intrigued with the fact that you had an exchange student.
I did.
So what was that experience like, and how did you decide to do that?
Well, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to volunteer and to give back to just the community in general. And I have no kids of my own. I have nieces and a nephew.
Like me, yeah.
Yeah. But I started thinking, wow, what can I do that would be a great experience for me and potentially more or less a good experience for a child? Mm-hmm. So I was talking to some friends that had done it, and they said it was a life-changing experience for them and a wonderful thing to do. And so I started looking into it, applied, filled out, there's plenty of paperwork that's involved with something like that, but I was accepted. And they send you applications of kids. And Fa, who is from Thailand, she and I were paired, and she came to Houston and spent a year with me, almost a year with me, not quite a year with me, going to school here and actually trying out for the drill team for the high school. And
you didn't know any of that beforehand, right? They approve you, and then you just get who you get. You don't get to pick anything?
Well, you get, the application gives you a lot of information about the individual. But, I was open to anybody. And there's a lot of kids from Germany, and Fa's from Thailand. But she was just somebody that kind of spoke to me as far as her application was concerned. And so we got paired. And then they send you can also communicate with them before they actually come here on the internet, I guess. So
Via email
and stuff like that, yeah. So we talked a little bit that way. So, yeah, she got here, went to high school. It was a great experience for me because I was doing the mother thing. When she was trying out for drill team, I was right there with her,
that's really cool.
And the excitement of her being picked. I was way more excited than she was. She was looking at me like, wow.
This lady here.
Okay. Yeah. So, and going to the football games with her and doing the things, I guess, that parents do, but I had not had that experience. It was wonderful for me. A teaching experience for me, and then
getting outside your box too.
Totally, completely for me.
Yeah,
so and taking care of her really, and
just speaking from another person who doesn't have children and has just nieces and nephews, you care for them like they're your own. However, they're not. At the same time, you're not there 24/7 with them. So now
this was 24/7.
You had to get out. You had to. After a long day of hard work, you still had to be on for her.
I did. I had to come home and, okay, what can we do? How can we prepare a meal? And then there was, of course, a little bit of a cultural barrier and a language barrier there. Yeah. So there was that to overcome. Then, of course, these kids are young and they get very homesick. And so there was a lot.
So she got homesick?
She got homesick. She was a strong kid, but she got homesick. And, I had to try to navigate that with her, which I think we did pretty well with that. And
did you communicate with her parents?
Yes. Of course, her mom doesn't speak English. Oh. So we did, through translation, Fa would translate what we would say. But, Fa was pretty much on her own here with me. So, yeah, it was a great fond memory for me, and I now know someone in Thailand. I feel like that I have elevated her experience and her time in America, and she tells me frequently how much she appreciated everything I did for her. Her dream was to go to Disneyland.
Wow.
Of course, for me, that was like... I'm not really a big fan of theme parks, but her dream was to go to Disneyland, and so I made it happen for her. So we went.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, good for you.
Yeah, so I felt like, that was a monumental task. And
absolutely.
Yes.
So many ways you got outside your comfort zone, and you gave without expecting anything in return, and you got so much
I got
more
a lot back.
Yeah, that you probably
a whole lot
never
back.
Expected.
Exactly.
That's great.
Exactly.
I definitely thought more into it since you told me about your experience.
Oh, I recommend it. I recommend it to
you.
And
even meeting her at, when was the last event she came to?
She went to the gala with me, yes.
And meeting her, I'm sure she was like, oh my gosh, why do these people know my name? And why are people coming and hugging me?
It was overwhelming for her, but of course that was also part of the experience that she really enjoyed.
Yeah, well, that's
getting
good.
to know everybody.
Yeah, you definitely planted that seed for her, so good for you, and how exciting.
Yeah, it was great. It was wonderful. And
you would highly recommend it to others?
I would. I'm going to do it again. I'm thinking of next year as being the year that I do this one more time, because, of course, they're always looking for parents. The exchange group's always looking for parents to...
Would you recommend this organization?
Yes, I would. I would recommend the organization. Let me just say that there's many of them out there. Okay. I don't want to necessarily, because I think it's up to the person to figure out, what they might. Yes, which is the best one.
So go do your research, people, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think you should, definitely.
Okay, well, good to know.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, I always like referrals for anything that I, am, but it does speak to the fact that we all know that if you stamp your name on something and then it doesn't go right, that you're like, you're the one that they're going to come back and look at and say, but you told me to go here.
I think that, yeah.
So good for you for saying yes. I would recommend them.
Because there are a couple of groups out there.
You should do your research, folks. And if you want, then they can just go ahead and email you and ask you offline.
Absolutely, they can do that. Most definitely.
Okay. So my last question before we get into, because there's so many other topics that we could spin off from there. My last question is, what would you tell your younger self?
I think I would tell my younger self, just breathe, It will be okay. I think most people could say that looking back, they thought that something that was going on with them was going to just wreck them and, completely destroy their lives. And it did not.
Yeah.
It did not.
It all
made them
itself
stronger.
out.
Yes. So I guess that's the word I would use is breathe.
Yeah. What doesn't kill you always makes you stronger.
I don't know about that, but I do think that many things do. Many things do, for sure.
So it'll be okay.
It will be all right. It definitely will be all right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's great advice. I think that if we had social media or any sort of anything that we could record on, which, there were cassette tapes, but I don't think people use those anymore. But if we could record the small advice and give that to ourselves and go back in the time machine and listen to that, then there are so many pieces of advice that, like right now you're saying breathe, but I'm sure many more will come to you now that somebody's asked you that. I found that the more
absolutely. What about you?
I would say don't sweat the small stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Kind of along the same lines.
Yeah, Yeah. I remember, like you were saying, that I thought that something was just going to be so devastating and traumatic if I didn't do it this way, and take the deep breath, yes, and just let it, play itself
out.
Yeah. Right. If I wouldn't sweat some of the small stuff, I wouldn't have been so uptight in my younger years.
Yeah.
I don't regret things because I feel like everything has been an experience no matter which direction I went.
And lead you to where you are and the person you are today.
Absolutely. Right. But just seeing my nieces and my nephews get all pent up about stuff and trying to give them phenomenal advice. Right. The simplest things you could tell them are breathe. Yeah. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Calm down.
It's
going to be all right.
It's going to be okay.
Exactly.
Everybody gets through this.
Yes.
Yes, but I mean, even though they're dealing with way more than we ever probably had to deal with at that age.
That's a good point. With
bullying and peer pressure and social media and all of it, like
right.
I can't even fathom that.
True.
But don't sweat the small stuff and breathe. And then there's so many more things that as you go along in each chapter of your life, right? I mean, so you spent your years in Austin and learned so many things, and I'm sure you could look back in just in that period in your life and say this. Yeah. I definitely have those same aha moments.
Sure.
Yeah, they are. So great advice, and I appreciate you for extending that and telling me and sharing with me about your experience with your exchange student.
Yes.
With Fa?
Fa,
okay.
Her full name is, thank goodness she gave me Fa, because her full name is Natwadi Sathapan. Okay. And I'm probably butchering that, and I apologize, Fa, if you're listening.
Sorry.
But Fa was really easy.
So much easier.
Yes,
Love it.
Yes, for sure.
Well, thank you again.
You're very welcome.
I really, really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone.
Woo! That's right.
It's growing.
That's right. One from Thailand.
Yes. Again, thank you, and search Kimberly D. Scott to subscribe to my YouTube channel, iTunes podcast, or follow me on any of social media, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that great stuff. And until next week, stay positive, keep growing. Thanks.
Bye, people.
Bye.